This is College Football 25, and after 11-year hiatus, this is our new game. With our new game comes a new dynasty, and please join us in Conway, South Carolina for the Coastal Carolina Chanticleer Dynasty. And while it is only a 10-mile drive from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where you can have fun in the sun, the Chanticleers plan on having fun in the Sun Belt. Alright guys, this is College Football 25 Dynasty. As you can see here, setting it up, we are going to be playing on All-American. I do want this to be realistic, and starting off as a head coach, I do want it to be a little bit slower. I don't want this to be quick. And we will be going with 7-minute quarters. As you guys heard in the intro, we are going to be rolling with the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. And right now, we will be inserting ourselves as the brand new head coach. And between motivator, recruiter, and tactician, you guys know that college recruiting is the bloodline of college football. With that said, we are looking at Coach Sag, and he is going to be running the spread offense. Unsure which exact playbook we are going to go with. We will be making some game time decisions with it, but we are keeping with the 4-2-5 defense. Since your boy is in Florida right now, we are going to be our alma mater from UF. And it only makes sense being in Conway, South Carolina, to make South Carolina the pipeline state. Coastal Carolina's inaugural season started in 2003. They moved from the FCS division to the FBS division in 2017. So we are looking only at 7 years of football and the highest level of competition. We started off in the FBS division with 2 5-7 records. The following year, they pushed past a 10-win season and hit 11-1 with the Sun Belt Conference Championship. The following year, they had the same exact record, except they went to a bowl game with 11-2. Following years, they dropped down just a little bit to 9-4 and 8-5. Coach Sag is coming in to fill in some big shoes. Coach Jamie Chadwell moved from Coastal Carolina and is now the head coach of Liberty University. We will get more into this later, but being a head coach, the question is, will Coach Sag and his fellow coordinators be able to get in some of the high-level player talent that is out there in high school and junior college, or will they have to grind? Coastal Carolina is not the coaching prestige university, so we do have a lot to go with. Will we need other coaches to come in to fill in some of those spots, or will we be able to stay cohesive together and grow as a community? We are going in and we'll be deep diving into this depth chart, but we are making sure to use the red shirts as possible. And with the red shirts comes possibility of these players getting upset and leaving the school or program. But this is something that is vital, especially for a first-year coach like Coach Sag. Many of these guys will be younger players, whether they be freshmen or sophomores, just to give them one extra year of recruiting. Going into this, some of these positions are not super in-depth. We have 3 freshman cornerbacks I would love to keep all in the high 60s, which after recruiting, after all this stuff, we will be able to use them possibly next year. I am seeing a lot of this team is going to be older players. We are looking at some information here and just going through to see what we need. We will for sure possibly look into the running back position, but one of the highest needs that we are going to need is going to be going after some wide receivers. After this year, one of our tight ends is gone, but we do have a big room, so as long as we keep them, we'll be okay. within the next couple of years, this offensive line will be leaving us completely. So we need to make sure that we are targeting some of them as well. We got tackles and guards who look to see that they're gone. Some defensive side of the ball. The defensive line is going to need a lot of help, as well as the linebacking group. But it seems to me with the 4-2-5, the biggest thing that we are going to look at and ensure that we have at all times is going to be the cornerback position. Now let's go into the depth chart. And the first thing that I'm going to see is Noah Kim, no offense to you, don't know you, bud, but being a senior redshirt quarterback at a 78 and having a sophomore quarterback. So looking at Ethan Vasco, we are definitely going to let Ethan Vasco go up the depth chart, push through in practice, and get him to start for us. Labeled as a field general, with his highest thing being power. He has got an arm on him with 93 throw power. Looks like he's going to be a little bit of a mobile quarterback, but not more so a running quarterback. His physicality has sleight of hand, step up, resistance, dot, and pull down. Looking at the running back side of the ball, we are going to be a running back duo, with Christian Washington being the starter. His elusiveness is more so at 88, quickness at a 90. He's got shifty, sidestep, takeoff, 360, and recoup. Does have a little bit of power, surprisingly, even though he is labeled as an elusive back. And the second one is going to be the senior redshirt, Braden Bennett. He is more so an catching back out of the backfield. Does have a little bit of power to him. Quickness, he is a 91, speed with 93 acceleration. So might be using him in the slot like a Christian McCaffrey. DeAndre Coleman is an interesting prospect. He is a redshirt freshman. So going to have him throughout the years. He is going to be labeled with great hands and good quickness. 81 catching, 84 agility, 88 speed with 88 acceleration. So looking forward to using him, see what he's capable of. But our bigger target is going to be Jamison Tucker. And he is going to be known more so for his quickness. Catching at 82, spec catch is at 84. Agility is at 86. His toughness is almost a 90. His speed's almost a 90 with acceleration at a 92. Kendall Carr is going to be named a first-team Sunbelt player. He has great catching. He is going to definitely be more so a possession catch tight end for us. But the person who's going to be the hybrid for us, our magic trick right here, the second-string tight end, Kane Barong. He does have almost 90 acceleration, 83 speed, so not the fastest, but his catching ability will put him past a lot of these guys. I see a lot of good things from this defensive line right here. As a 4-2-5, you have to make sure your defensive line is set. Clinton Anakuru is going to be the captain of this defense. Redshirt sophomore Trey Brown is going to be one of the guys that we lean on in that 4-2-5. Sometimes they will be linebackers. Sometimes they will be a sub-linebacker, letting safeties come down. He is decent in pass coverage, got a lot of power to him. He is only a redshirt sophomore, so possibly 2 more years. And when he's not in, we do have another linebacker who we can depend on with the senior redshirt Shane Bruce. He is rocking that number 1, so see a huge mentality aspect there. Not really sure if he is going to be playing as much as Trey Brown. The best player on the team is going to be Matthew McDoom, and what a name fitting for a defensive back. Funny story enough, Matthew McDoom is actually from the place that I actually live in real life. He went to West Orange High School, which is the high school that my students feed into from teaching. It's kind of fun, a little bit of a connection there. Dre Pinkney is going to be another player that is going to help us out a lot. He was named the second string Sunbelt Conference player at strong safety position. But that is a look at some of the players that's within our depth chart. We are going to be looking and seeing all these guys develop throughout the years. You will hear me talk about these guys more and more as we go along. Looking at the recruiting board, let's go into the prospect list. And Coastal Carolina is only a 1.5 star prestige. So we are going to be using this and fighting and clawing for every single prospect that we see. The biggest thing in our board is going to be cornerbacks and wide receivers at this time. And while every position is important, we need to make sure that we get these guys so that we have enough on the actual roster. So going in, we have a couple of 2- and 3-star recruits that are looking at us already. I'm trying my best to go ahead and do it based off of not only interest, but their stage and where they're at. Are they a pipeline? And most of these guys will be in the Carolinas, with a couple from Florida. We do have that 2-star pipeline through there, with Florida being the alma mater of Coach Sag. So as we get this set up, I'm just going through, looking at the top 8 schools. Do we have a chance of getting a couple of these guys? As you can see at the top right, we only have 500 hours of recruiting. We're going to use it as much as possible, bring in as many guys as possible, but there are going to be times where we need to make sure that we are ready to go. So as we talked about earlier, offensive line, there are a few players going away, and while we probably have our starters already in our depth chart for next year, there is a possibility of them swaying because they don't have much playing time or other things around the campus that could be an issue. So we're going to go ahead and target a couple of these guys. Offensive guard, left or right, you can switch and back and forth. We're just trying to see. You can see there are no players with any interest at this time. So we're going to go ahead and start recruiting, and I'm going to being a little greedy here, going after a couple 4-stars. But we do have one player who is interested, with Christian Way, going to be a 3-star right guard. Defensive line, like we said earlier, we do have some guys leaving. Not really sure what we're going to do here. I do have one prospect that is a 1-star who is in the top 5 for us. Defensive end for us is just a defensive end. You can flip them left and right depending on your scheme is what you want to do with them. But only 2 prospects with us in the top 10. So this is going to tell me we need to go through, and Coach Sag needs to find some of those recruits who just might not know where they want to go. They might be lower overalls, like 2-star. And honestly, at this point, to get a 3-star is going to be super difficult for even the Coastal Carolina. We do have a good bit of defensive tackles leaving, but that room actually has enough guys who are going to take over the part that we need. So I'm not really worried about the defensive line. But I do like this linebacker position. I want to eventually be able to put in a plug-and-play player. We might not always be a 4-2 defense. It depends on what is in our roster. As we have talked about, the cornerback position is going to be so important for us. We have targeted 5 recruits as far as like cornerback goes, with one of them even having interest that is a 4-star. Strong safety, we have the redshirt junior at Pinckney, as well as Fletcher, who is a senior. So Fletcher will be leaving. Pinckney, not sure yet at this time. And looking at the athletes, only 3 of them want to come here. It looks to see like the third one at the top 450 is going to be a 3-star quarterback. Not really interested in any quarterbacks. You guys saw how huge our quarterback room was. I'm just going to kind of go through. We have 25 targets on our board at this time. I want to make sure that we have just enough to where it's logistically possible to go after them. As we get closer to people start signing, people have the inability to stay up with some of these recruits, I'm going to have to pull out when it's not possible. Let's go ahead and go through, find some of these the positions of what we need. Like I said, wide receiver and cornerback is going to be the top priority for us. I want to go ahead and get some of these guys who are going to be 3 and 4 stars. We need to make sure if we're going to put in that fight that they're scouted all the way. And I do believe that the offensive coordinator does have a scouting thing with the wide receivers. I believe that if you only are at the first tier of everything, it takes 5 different hits on your stuff. We are looking at, oh wow, he's quick. Amika Ohalate, 94 acceleration, 92 speed. Some of these guys will have some of these attributes that are leaning super into one side. It might not be the best in the other, but we need time to develop them as well. And again, kind of impressive, some of these 1-stars. I'm not huge on Zach Costin's speed, 76 speed at wide receiver. I believe our tight end's faster. There are going to be times where we might have to put 2 or 3 tight ends out there instead of wide receivers because they don't do it. And we find our first gem in James Dillard. And let's go into our second to last receiver, Ronnie Shaver. He has got 79 acceleration. Again, another gem, but a 1-star gem. Is he going to be good enough to play, or is he going to have to wait within the depth chart? Last one, Josh Tootin. 89 acceleration, 88 speed. Trying to look for his catch. I don't see it. So he's going to be speedy. He might not have the surest of hands. So we're going to move him up, though. He is still a little bit better than the last three. So Del Vigil is a monster at guard. 4-star guard. He is a 4-star gem. So I'm going to need to put a lot of time into him. Don't forget, we do have to go ahead and offer a scholarship to start talking to these guys. So I'm going to go ahead and do that before I forget some of these guys at the very top. For sure, Del Vigil is going to be the first one on the group that I'm going to make sure to do that with. Mike Liera, he is a 4-star as well. And he's not a gem, but he is a 4-star guy. So I'm going to go ahead and offer him. And the last one, Christian Way. Let's see what he's at. Okay, not as great as the first two, but 93 strength. My goodness, that guy is massive. He is 292, okay, and a 2-star tackle at Tim Stills. I believe we were on his board at 8. 73 strength, okay, not horrible, but we're definitely interested, so we're going to go ahead and give him a scholarship. Matthew Westbrook is going to be one of the only right ends on the defensive line who's looking for us to be able to talk to him, so we're going to scout him. Not sure yet about scholarships. 3-star Colin Osgood, decent. I like him, but 85 block shed. Okay, but he's a bust. So Jamari Arma is going to be a left end that is a bust. And last one we're going to go with is Sharif Glennon, who is a 4-star left end. And we're going to go ahead and offer him a scholarship even though we haven't fully scouted him. That's the issue with this week. We will not always be able to completely scout these guys to know what they're capable of. So I want to make sure I scout next week. I want to make sure that I get to them before moving into any kind of like crazy recruiting. But before we go, guys, I figured I would do you a treat. Let's go ahead and look at the top 25 power rankings here. Number 1, obviously, Georgia. Number 2, Ohio State. Number 3, Texas. Number 4, Oregon. And rounding out the outside the top 4 is going to be Ole Miss, Alabama, Penn State, Notre Dame, Michigan. That's a fall off a little bit. I could be wrong. Missouri in the top 10. Florida State number 11 with the Noles. Utah number 12. 13 LSU. Okay, we've got a lot of SEC-dominated teams in here. Oklahoma at 14, 15 Tennessee, 16 Arizona. And people were telling us a lot about Arizona and their playbook. I'm glad to see them up there. Clemson at 17, Oklahoma State at 18, 19 Kansas State, 20 it's going to be Louisville, 21 Kansas, 22 NC State, 23 Miami, 24 Texas A&M, and rounding out the top 25 is going to be the Southern California Trojans. But we're going to hop over to the Sun Belt. We're going to look at the preseason Sun Belt Conference players, see if we have anybody in play. And going through all the people so far, all the skilled positions, we have one player in the skilled position set, Kendall Carr. Our possession tight end, 6'3", 245. He is a big body guy. Hopefully he can run quick, get open in those short yard spaces that we're going to need him for. And again, another first team Sunbelt, Matthew McDoom, and we talked about him earlier. He's the best player on Coastal Carolina's team. On the defensive side, for second team, it's going to be Dre Peatney. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to the press conference. Let Coach Sag talk to you guys. Welcome. Coach Sag, come on in, have a seat. Thank you so much for being here. I just want to take a couple minutes, first off, before we get started, to go ahead and thank the University of Coastal Carolina for giving me the opportunity to be a head coach. Thank you to all my coaches and staff out here who are helping me through, run the first practice, run the first couple of practices, run the entire camp, getting ready for this 2024 season. Yeah, let's go ahead and ask questions.
Coach Sack, we see that your experience level is not the greatest here. What do you have to say to the supporters and the people saying things about that?
Wow. Okay. Starting off hard, huh? Uh, Here's the thing. The athletic director brought me on because he liked what he saw. The coaches, they're buying in. The students are buying in. We need to make sure that we are all in this together. So, for the people who haven't done this before, who get on TV and do all that, by all means, critique all you want. When you are put in this position, there are always going to be Monday morning quarterbacks. Everything is 2020 in hindsight. So, if I make a mistake and there are going to be mistakes made, get over it. We are going to do our best to get these kids to succeed. We're going to do this best to bring this program to where it was on an FCS level in the FBS. And for all the naysayers out there, how about you come to a game? How about you come support us? How about you guys right now get on this channel, leave this like button, because you know no other guys are doing this in their press conference.
With the guys out there that you saw, who were the ones that were sticking out?
Who they all stuck out. Like, we have great players, and it could just be that I haven't coached at a level like this, but everybody that's out there is getting better. Every single player that is out there is part of this team. And whether they stay with the team for all the years I'm here, whether they stay with the team for all the years that they are here, it doesn't matter. When you are on the team, you are family. Whether you are the starting quarterback or the 5th string, 8th string, 9th string DB who's getting reps at practice, do what you can to get better. 1% better, 1% better every single day will get you 39% better statistically. So if you're going to tell me you're going to put in the work and you're not quite where you want to be, you keep pushing and we will get there together.
What is your philosophy for the team?
Philosophy is all gas, no brakes. And I don't mean that to be funny. We want everyone out there flying around the football on defense. I want there to be chaos. I want there to be blitzes that no one's. And listen, we're going to give up some plays. Hey, it's college football. I want there to be a crazy amount of things going on that the offense is just scared with the unpredictability brought on by my coaches. On the offensive side, this ain't no low and slow. This is going to be a balanced attack. We are going to put in our sophomore redshirt quarterback, Ethan Vasco, to be at the helm. We appreciate everybody, and there will always be a sense of competitiveness in our practices, but we believe going forward that Ethan is going to give us at least 2 years of predictability. I want to be able to earn his trust, and he needs to be able to be trusted by our staff. Anything else? You guys, we good? Yeah, nah.
What are your goals? What are your goals while being here at Coastal?
I mean, okay. So since you asked, I got them written down on the list. All right. So obviously, first and foremost, we want to win the season. Ideally, but unrealistically, we want to go 13-0. We want that natty. But while I'm here, and that's all dependent on you guys, that's all dependent on the athletic director, that's all dependent on the university itself. While I'm here, I want to win the Sun Belt Championship twice. I want to be that program that earns and earns and earns to the point where we move from the Sun Belt into the ACC, especially after earning that second Sun Belt Conference championship. Recruiting. I want this school to be the school to go to. I mean, guys, 10 miles down the road, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, might not be the number 1 rated beach in the U.S., but it's a beach. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got a school. We're going to go during the off season to the beach. We're going to train down there. It's going to be fun. This is a beautiful place. Beautiful campus. Beautiful state. So why not come here? So I want to recruit a top 10 recruiting class at this school.
while I'm here, I want this program to be known nationally. How do we do that? Putting in some All-Americans. But first, before we get those All-Americans, I want us to have some first-team Sunbelt players. And while we have 2 preseason guys, it's not guaranteed for the season. I want to have at least 10 All-Americans coming out of this university. I want to have their legacy, and not just my legacy, but the university's legacy, to be forthright. And last but not least, unrealistic or not, for this year, I want a natty. I want to bring this school a national championship. So with that said, I think we're going to leave it there. I think today was great. I feel like the kids are ready to go. There's just 2 things I need you guys to know. Number 1, fear the Chanticleer. And number 2, play me out.
I hope you guys have a great day, great week, great month, and great year. And let's get excited for Chanticleer football.